we'll give it a few, and then I'm loving this new computer, by the way, John.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
it's always better to have new computers.
I was able to edit everything and do everything in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, much
That was
better than
great.
having to sit around and wait for your computer to catch up to everything.
Having to wait like 3 minutes for something to export instead of 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it about a minute. I don't know if let me see.
So they have internet on computers, huh?
Oh, man.
It's been a busy weekend. Oh, look who it is, Alan. Oh, great.
All right.
Wonderful. Now my day's complete.
He hasn't been in the team chat. I haven't heard him grumbling.
Well, now you can get it live.
Yes. Love it.
I already had to help decorate for Halloween. We can start now.
He can't hear us. That'd be bad if he can't hear us.
Yeah.
Oh, he says he can hear us. Okay, he's just
I think he's just
being
asking us to
sarcastic because he
start.
can't see my beautiful face.
Oh, God.
I mean, that's what everybody's waiting for, right?
I'm already regretting this.
How's that any different than any other time we broadcast?
I can't wait to be your 40K boss.
You will never be my 40K boss.
I'm going to get a card that says that. I'll never give it to you, but I'll give it to everybody else.
Everybody else.
John's 40K boss.
My 40K boss. You just wait. I got something in store for you somewhere.
No, God, I bet you do.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, guys, quit flirting.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're just jealous because you're not involved. All right.
It's true.
He's jealous.
Oh, my God. Hey, everybody. Welcome for a special episode of TFG Radio. Again, you cannot see us today because we are using Discord, and I'm still banned from John's house.
Yes.
So today
You know
we
what
have.
you did.
So today we have Danny, as you can hear, myself, and John.
Mm-hmm.
We are three of the judges for LVO, amongst other events, but that's the main one most of us know us for. And we're here just a bit give you a look at basically what we see, or what we think anyway, when we see things like FAQ. I know we also play, so we have that at that aspect, but we also consider a lot of how it affects the game itself and judging the game and what issues could come up in the future. So we sometimes try to head that off by talking about it. So we're going to do that today. And we're not going to go through every little part of the FAQ. We're going to really more go over things that kind of basically popped out to us. We're going to talk about the big stuff. We'll save that the best for last. But
what's the best for last?
We'll talk about the new beta tactical reserves rule and the changes to how command points are regenerated.
Whoa. Are you telling me the FAQ actually came out?
Yes.
In September?
In September,
There's
yes.
no way it actually came out in September. I heard it was supposed to come out in October. That's what the internet kept telling me.
Well, to
that
be
the
fair,
September
we're talking
FAQ
about it now in
was never
October.
going to come out in September. Like, did it come out like September 30th at the last minute?
No, it came out on Friday.
It came out 2 days before the end of September.
Yes.
Wow, huh? Imagine that. Nobody called that happening.
No, nobody
anywhere.
made a bunch of memes about
Nobody
it.
made any memes about that at all that I'm now clearing the screen so that you can see.
Yeah.
People don't make memes anymore. What are you talking about?
I make memes all
Yes.
day, every day.
John,
Memes are life.
Mr. Humble.
I just like being able to say I told you so, that's all.
I know that.
That's so hard to understand. Come on.
And I hate
That's-
you being right.
Baby smug goat meme, I'm sure, has been thrown up.
Oh, I forgot
Oh,
to
it
put
was.
that in the rotation.
Oh, come on, John. I thought you were a professional.
No, I've never once claimed this was a professional show in any way, shape, or form. I can't believe I forgot to put the baby goat meme. I did remember the Trump one, though.
Okay, well,
The soup one.
Thank you, Airborne248, for subscribing.
Oh, yeah.
Twitch Prime. As a reminder, you can do that, and you just need to renew it every month, and you can only do it through the desktop. You can't do it through your phone for some reason.
McSardo likes my memes, by the way. He's complimenting me in the chat.
I'm not saying your memes aren't good.
Oh, okay, good. That's fine.
I'm
they're
not
just
denying
not
that.
great.
Wrong.
Nice. So to get started, again, yes, the FAQ came out technically on time. We'll see how long October lasts. Since people are already upset.
31 days?
Yeah. Since the people are upset.
My
that
guess,
there's no
31
orcs.
days.
There's no orcs on October 1st.
Oh, my God. People are
They
the worst. We're like
They
the
released
worst
a
community
painting
ever.
competition. They had a painting competition on October 1st and a fluff piece on Warhammer Community all about the lore about the orcs.
Well, there you
Yes.
go. There's your Orktober, people.
The beginning. It's only the beginning.
Hey, that 31 days is a lot. You gotta, I'm sure they're stretching out some meat to a thin gruel right now.
Yeah, you gotta space that stuff out, man.
Yeah, 'cause
Everyone-
I'm pretty sure they got a codex, the couple of new kits we've already seen, and that's it. So basically a weekend.
Airborne makes a good point that that he's enjoying that the Slanesh demon was leaked before a new orc.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. That was great trolling. Their trolling level's gone way up. I approve. I like it.
I
They're
know you
real good at it. I just wish that they would have somebody make memes and post memes as responses, but then they'd have to let everybody post pictures as responses, and they don't want to let people do that. That's a can of worms you do not want to open up on your page if you're a community page.
Nope.
So what we're going to start, we're going to go over quickly. If you have any questions during the show, if you're on the Twitch stream, just go ahead and ask them. We'll try to get to them as we can. We do have a few questions that came up due to the FAQ. Surprise, surprise. So we can mention some of those, which you may see at your next tournament or major event. But really what I want to do here, because we're not going to go over, is just anything that came up or popped out or anything that surprised you that in any of the codexes or rule book. John, anything other than the obvious stuff?
Well, I'm glad you qualified that as being from the rule books, because there's plenty of stuff that's come up and surprised me lately. So I'm glad that you qualified what I'm supposed to refer to.
Wow. Oh my God.
Getting a little too personal there, John.
I was actually surprised. I should, yeah, seriously, right? I shouldn't be too. I was talking more like politics, but I see where you're going with that. Wow. Okay, I didn't even see that side of it, Danny. The only thing that surprised me, which really shouldn't have surprised me, because I made an entire meme about it, which is floating through the lineup there, is that they did not address Yunari at all. Like, there's a million questions we get about all the stupid interactions for all the warlord traits and stuff, and not a single word. Oh, there's the meme right there. It's right there right now. That's perfect. It's perfect. Came up right on time.
Serendipitous.
Yes. Like, seriously, why? Like, I understand part of it is like, be patient, there's a codex coming, right?
Right. That's the rumor. Yeah.
But there's a point where you have to be like, just answer the questions so that we can get through right now.
Answer the question, Claire.
Because, like, they didn't do anything with, like, any of the Eldari problems at all.
No.
Like, nothing. They addressed CP farm, fine. And they went way too knee-jerk, just like I was expecting them to go way too knee-jerk on that one. Right. And then you drop knights down from top-tier army to mid-tier at best through the CP farm nerf, right? And you don't address any of the other problems with any of the Eldari stuff at all. And then you're automatically, like, boosting them back up to the top by not doing so. So it's a little bit frustrating from my player perspective, not my TO perspective right now. But it's also frustrating from a judge perspective because there's still a bunch of unanswered questions. Yeah. Like, you have the exact forum you need to answer the questions, and you chose not to. You had to have chosen not to. Like, you can't be aware that CP farm's a problem and that Knights were really good and not be aware of the fact that Yanari's an issue. Like, the fact that it's still a thing. And all the index crossover nonsense. Like, that needs to go away, too.
Yeah,
Like, that needs to be changed. But it's not there. And, I mean, there's a little bit... There's going to be a little bit of salt for me in this one over this, and that's fine because...
A little.
Because this is not a...
Are you going to cry?
No, I'm not gonna cry. This is not a positive for product podcast, so it's going to be there, so people can just kind of get over that. But I mean, it's just the way it is. Like, but it's disconcerting that that's allowed to go through when it could have been addressed, and it clearly needed to be. And was not.
I don't disagree. I mean, I think there's been tons of questions. I mean, God knows we have asked questions of GW of like, hey, how do these rules interactions, how is this intended to work? And the fact that they didn't address that in their big FAQ, I mean, unless the Inari Codex is coming out like in October, which would be a great troll. But, it just becomes kind of an interesting point of like, so why aren't you addressing this, right? Like what vested interest do you have to not answer these questions other than you don't know the answers and you're trying to suss that out now?
I mean, I have a theory. I don't know if anybody wants me to go into my theory.
Of course we do.
Live
Get your
on air.
tinfoil hat on.
I'm not a big conspiracy person, so take this with
Does it involve lizard people?
It does not. It does not.
Hard pass.
Mm-hmm.
Does it involve an on?
No, what it involves
on?
is there was no touch to Yanari or Eldari, right? Because the people who get asked about these FAQs, like the playtesters, a lot of the playtesters are Eldari players. Like, they just are. The other thing is the reason why I think the CP nerf was so strong is that the CP farm plus Knights allowed mid-tier players to beat good players, like the really good players, the playtesting players, on a regular basis. And they didn't like that. And so the people who have a say in the kind of the way the FAQ gets made and the things that go into it and the way it gets balanced out didn't want to address Inari, but they do want to address the idea that like there's these mid-tier lists or mid-tier players who can now effectively knock some of these better players out just through the nature of the list they were playing. And so they got a huge nerf bat through the CP farm because of that reason. And I bet you anything there's going to be a big points increase to things like the Castellan and the Gallant too for the same reason when Chapter Approved comes out. And I guarantee, I'm saying also that there's going to be no changes to Eldari or Yanari at all in Chapter Approved.
Wait. So your whole theory is based on the assumption that a small group of players who would personally gain from giving certain information to a otherwise uninformed company would have no scruples about ensuring that they remain towards the top end of the spectrum, including some who have a business model based on their own success.
Correct.
That would never happen.
No, absolutely not.
Illogical. Absolutely illogical.
No comment.
Like I said, this is not a positive product podcast.
That's not what I...
So you can all take your positivity and shove it.
I'm more sardonic than positive.
That's fair. Okay, Adam, what was your biggest takeaway? Mine was Salt Factory.
Salt Factory. Mine was just a bunch of little things that kind of snuck in. I was talking to Danny earlier about like the Death Watch stratagem that removes marker lights. They changed it a little so you can remove it after a unit shoots as opposed to after each time it gets shot by a marker light. Nothing. I mean, other than the big things, part of the surprise I got was it involves tactical reserves, and we can talk about that later.
You mean and all those related errata, like the Raven Guard stuff?
Yeah, that surprised me.
It didn't surprise me at all. It's the same. It's the same thing with the CP farm. That is a tactic that any player can point and click and use, and so therefore it needed to be changed. Because there were these certain lists that could use it, and it's this really point and click ability to be like, I'm in your face and get to charge you turn one outside of the regular rules when we already worked to stop that from happening, and now it's still happening. So we need to make sure that that doesn't happen. They do not want you to be able to charge turn 1 because the assault phase is super strong and anybody can utilize it. Like, well, just by playing a certain list. It's the same idea. It's the same.
The FAQ this time around, I think, seemed to be in terms of answering questions, and errata seemed to be more with more clarification and reinforcing some rules that we have made or other events have made, but weren't ever quote unquote official, or that maybe the Facebook page made that weren't, like the thing with Blackheart. So it's a lot. It's more. It looks more to me, at least it comes off to me more as a cleanup.
Okay.
Clarifying a few things, like the artifact for demons crossing over to Chaos Demon Princess from the Chaos Space Marine book.
Right.
Like that, especially basically the axe that Korn has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things the like that. Axe. Yeah. So now Danny can't use it. It's in his army, clarifying the stuff.
Now I don't get my World Eater prince to have 6 attacks on the charge with it.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. So there's a lot of clarifications in some of the more questionable stuff, like when you target, like when you shoot a weapon. It used to be people were trying to argue that you had to shoot all of them, including one-shot weapons.
Right. Yeah, like my missiles.
Yeah, so which and they clarified that you don't, and that Nova was ruled that you don't have to.
Yeah. Hey, what's the ruling on if I take over somebody's Castellan Knight, can I shoot their one-shot missiles?
Sure. It's LJ.
Yeah, why not? It's a weapon you can shoot.
I just didn't know if that was like a thing that anybody ever brought up. I mean, I assume so by the wording that I've seen, but by the time somebody was trying to take over my Castellan, I'd already shot the missiles. So.
Fair.
And also clarifying that you have to declare all your shots as you make them. You can't just say, I'm going to shoot at this target, this target, this target. Are you going to rotate your ion shields? Which is more or less why that came up.
Yeah, which is that's the way we ruled it, right? Isn't that the way it was getting played?
Nova ruled it that you had to declare what's shooting at what. You couldn't declare the targets, wait for them to do the ion shields, and then tell them what's shooting at what.
Okay.
Right.
You have to declare the target and the weapon you're using at the same time now.
Okay.
Officially. Before it was dependent upon the TO.
That was a big thing for me that stuck out, is that they actually bothered to take the time to clarify process of actions, right? Which they're not really good at doing, and timing.
Yeah.
Right. Which, I don't expect it to be Magic where there's 40 unique steps within a phase.
Sure.
Right. But some basic sense of when you're going to attack, right? Like, what is the specific timing of when certain things happen? When do you officially target? When do you select the weapon that is targeting, right? Like, in what order do you resolve, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, which they seem to be addressing only as the questions come up, not preemptively doing that.
Right. Well, I don't think they necessarily have an understanding of the breakdown of their turns in that kind of sense, right? I don't think they go into the micro level like that.
But they never have in any of the editions.
No, because they're again, as I've always said, they're not a competitive rule set, right? They've never aimed to be a truly competitive, to produce a truly competitive system for 40K. You only need to do that. You only need to really think about the micro level when it is competitive, where you do need everything spelled out. Otherwise, people get an argument.
Yeah.
This is why Magic went from a 3-page booklet of this is how you run a little tournament and this is how the game is played to a 100-page tome.
Yeah.
Of how to play competitive Magic.
Yeah, this is the first time they've actually taken an active step to sort of kind of be competitive, or a competitive rule set.
No, it is. I mean, the fact they have match play rules, right?
Yes.
That they acknowledge that there is a competitive aspect. I mean, I think that's one of the first times in their rules writing they've actually acknowledged that.
Is this also the first time that we've got a 4 CP stratagem?
Yeah.
So they gave us the first 4 CP stratagem through an FAQ.
Yep.
Yeah. This is the first time, also the first time that they've ever changed CPs in general, not just that one.
Oh man.
So, I mean, get your Sharpies out and mark them on your cards,
or buy the digital codexes that update on their own.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, that's true. No, I'm not doing that. I mean, I've got the digital codexes, but I'm not going to buy the super e-reader ones.
I did for Tyranids. It's come in handy.
I would imagine. I mean, maybe for my main faction, but for my main faction, I'll just print it out and put it in the hardback because I like the hardback book anyways.
That's fair. I have both, honestly. I have a hardback and an e-digital just for Tyranids, just because it makes my life much easier.
Right, that makes sense.
So real quick, just from those clarifications and such, there did come up one question that I saw on the Comp 40K page regarding the psychic phase or skipping a phase.
Right.
I don't know if you guys saw it. And the question that they answered was, can you skip a phase or part of a phase? So if your army has no psychic or they don't declare a charge,
right,
do you technically skip that phase so that the phase never happens? And the answer to that no, but in their answer it caused another issue that someone had brought up. Is that you must
Adam, hold up.
Yeah.
OBS disconnected from the streaming service.
Ooh.
Don't know why. Just a second. Let me figure this out.
So no one can hear us?
It's reconnected now. Oh, no. Maybe not.
Yeah, it says offline. I'm watching it on the computer and it says offline.
Okay, hold on. Let's see.
You're going to make me edit now. Oh, great.
No. Well, yeah, you'll have to. I'll edit it out on the video, and then what you get, the audio you get, will be edited too.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. I'll have to mark it.
Okay. It should be reconnected now.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it showing as connected on the thing?
Yeah, it says
there we go.
Now.
Sorry, everybody. We had a bit of issue.
The joys of live theater.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. I would think it would just drop frames instead of like disconnect entirely, but whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I was talking about, which
I'm going to blame Airborne because I clicked his link to the Price is Right sound bite on YouTube, and as soon as I clicked that and it played, it went boom, done. So I think he just infected my computer with AIDS and everybody watching the stream too. He says 100%, so good.
So what I was talking about? One of the questions was, can you ever skip a phase? So if you have no movement phase, no charge phase, especially with certain armies. And GW said you must play. It says you must play out all of the phases, and that caused another question: what if you forget a phase? Can you go back and do it?
No,
because their contention was that because it says must, I mean it's that you must play that phase even if you forget it.
I guess it depends on the situation, right? If it's like, let's say you forget charge phase, right? Because it's a separate phase, then combat phase, and you go straight to combat, and you resolved all the combats, and you're done, and then someone remembers like, oh, I could heroically intervene. I'm close enough.
Right.
Yeah, like I think that you shouldn't be able to skip, like what Airborne is saying, you shouldn't be able to skip to say, okay, you can't heroically intervene because I'm skipping my phase. But you also shouldn't be able to be like, oh, I skipped my psychic phase by accident. Let me now go back now that it's my assault phase and cast all these buffs that I need to cast.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you really can't, again, you should never re game state.
Right.
Just because it's impossible to really say how things would have happened. And you never put things exactly where they should be. And, it's a whole bag of worms. It should be like a last resort.
Yeah.
So it just seems like if you forgot it,
then too bad.
Too bad. Yeah. And,
But you can't use the I forgot to screw your opponent. After something they could do on your turn.
Right. Your opponent has the right if they're like, okay, going, and they skip psychic and they have a stratagem they could have used in the psychic phase for whatever reason. Right. They have the right to be like, oh, wait, I would have used this. I would have used this stratagem in the psychic phase. But I forgot it. It's like, well, okay. They have a right to then probably get a judge involved. And I think it's a case-by-case basis because it depends how far along in the damn turn they are.
Yeah. I mean, there's also a point where, like, if you forgot to heroically intervene because your opponent was like, okay, I'm done with or like they just skipped their assault phase because they didn't do anything, and it's now your turn, then I think at that point you've moved on to your turn. You can't go back to your opponent's turn and be like, I wanted to heroically intervene.
Right.
Like, that's beyond the ability to go back and rewind the clock. But I think if it's still your opponent's turn, or it's like the very beginning of your turn, like, wait, you never did your assault phase. I wanted to heroically intervene. fine. But if you've already moved on and done like a bunch of stuff in your turn, then I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
It's kind of shenanigans.
Yeah, the person was I don't know if they're trying to rules lawyer or they were just because it says must. They were arguing that you would have to go back even if you forgot, even if you forgot or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But, yeah. So I mean, things like that have come up. Let's go. We can go into the big stuff.
I got little things.
Oh yeah, Danny. I forgot Danny.
I'm still here. Yeah, it's okay. All right.
Go ahead, Danny. What's anything stick out?
I'm not even going to try to help you out, Adam. I'm just going to let you flounder.
Yeah. That's fine. You don't have to help me out.
You can't see. You forgot a phase. You must go back.
I must go back. I forgot the Danny phase.
Yep.
Solid.
Reavers OP now? No, not really. But are they the only unit that gets to do the 12-inch vertical, but need to only roll a 2-inch horizontal charge now? Did they? Because I didn't see them get FAQ'd for their stupid grappling hooks.
Well, are they stupid now?
Well, that's the thing. Is like, actually now are they basically like, oh, here, Reavers, we want to sell more of these models and we want you to be good. Here, you get to assault out of reserves.
I'm going to go with if they're the only exception to that. It was not a we want to sell more Reavers. It was a we forgot that unit exists because they suck.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And now we inadvertently made them better, so maybe we won't fix this so people will still buy these models that nobody bought.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they addressed flip belts, right? And they made that specific, this only applies in the movement phase.
I feel like there's more people who play Harlequins than there are people who bought Reaver models.
Probably true. No, a lot of people bought them. They're pretty good in Kill Team. I don't know.
And we're not going to discuss the Kill Team FAQ, Danny. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't even read it yet, to be fair.
I still don't know what the hell a kill team is, so whatever.
You know what it is.
No, it's not a thing.
Yeah, I didn't say it was a thing. I just know what it is.
Is that it, Danny? Just Reavers, or you got more? I'm hoping you got more.
No, I have plenty. I like how Myetic Spores and Spore Cysts pretty much can't be played right now legally under the tactical beta because they come. They're not set up on the table during deployment.
Sure.
And they come in at the beginning of the first battle round before the first turn begins.
You talking about in concert with the new beta rules?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it becomes that does the start of the first battle round, but before the first turn begins, count as mid-game. Because the game has started, the first battle round has started, except the first turn has not started.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's just one, I guess, for us to argue about. I imagine intent is for Sporcis to be playable, but then again, they specifically said, like, sorry, Gene Stealer cults, you guys don't work with this. We'll get you later.
Oh, yeah. I know, right? Jeez, they just hate Gene Stealer cult.
They really do. Which is fine. Michael Snyder plays it. It's fine.
Pathogenic slime getting nerfed.
God, I hope Snyder's watching. He'll comment.
He's not watching.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Pathogenic slime also kind of hurt. That was like one of the few like good tricks you could actually do with the Tyrannofex with Fleshboar Hive, which you never see, but like a good trick you could pull off was because it used to be able to, you could trigger it whenever, including after failed saves. And so you just, shoot a ton of shots and you just wait for that moment of them to spike their luck bad and be like, damn, I just took 6 wounds. And then you're like, pathogenic slime, that's 12.
Yeah.
It's just like, great. I'm even less inclined to ever try to play with the Tyrannofex in any competitive setting.
I think you mentioned we discussed the Spore before we came on. You and I did, Danny. I still think you can do it. John, what do you think? Because it says before the battle round.
It was before the first turn.
So why don't we just take this opportunity to read the tactical reserves rule?
All right.
Okay, so I'll put it up on this. I'll put it up on the screen, and then I'll go ahead and read it too. So tactical reserves. Instead of being set up on the battlefield during deployment, many units have the ability to be set up on teleportariums in high orbit, in ambush, blah, 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 in order to arrive on the battlefield mid-game as reinforcements. When setting up your army during deployment for a matched play game, at least half the total number of units in your army must be set up on the battlefield, and the combined points value of all the units you set up on the battlefield during deployment including those that are embarked within transports that are set up on the battlefield, must be at least half of your army's total points value, even if every unit in your army has an ability that would allow them to be set up elsewhere. Furthermore, in match play games, units that are not placed on the battlefield during deployment in order to arrive on the battle mid-game as reinforcements cannot arrive on the battlefield during the first battle round. Finally, any unit that has not arrived on the battlefield by the end of the third battle round in a match play game counts as having been destroyed. Okay, so really it's the furthermore in match play games part that we're talking about. So furthermore, in match play games, units that are not placed on the battlefield during deployment, which these are not, in order to arrive on the battle mid-game as reinforcements, cannot arrive on the battlefield during the first battle round.
Right, and they say at the start of the first battle round, but before the first turn begins. So that last part seems to preclude them from being able to be played.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I would agree with that. And if they already said above that Gene Stealer Colts blah, 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 right, simply can't do that, then I'm going to go ahead and I would say that, yeah, they if they already did it to one codex and said, no, you can't do this because of this, I would go ahead and say, like, well, they wrote it out of this. They did not specifically say it, but they did write it out of it. Like, they wrote it that can't work.
Yeah, so I guess
I don't know why, but they did.
Yeah, because it's not like in reserve where I'm like, okay, I can bring it down turn 2. It specifically says you do this turn 1.
Right, which...
It also nerfs Spore Field, too, which is the exact same wording.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
a couple things...
My fortification and my Edic Spores.
So a couple things that were changed from the previous iteration of Tactical Reserves. They changed it from power level to points.
Yeah, which makes sense because, it's for match play and points are more important than power level.
Yes.
So
yeah, I like that they did get rid of that for sure.
The first turn thing, so now nobody can come in on first turn. You can't even come into your own deployment zone.
Yay, 4th edition.
Well, I know there were a couple comments that until I mentioned to them that it was like this in previous editions, and then they were kind of, oh, okay, if it was like that before, then yeah. So 4th edition, except we have to come by turn 3. Before it was like turn 4, everybody comes in.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah, it was everybody just came in on turn. Now they're saying, hey, you can choose to forget, dumbass.
So now you only have two turns to really decide where they go.
Which really makes, again, if you have the bodies to zone out, right? Like you can really, really, really screw somebody up because you don't have to worry about turn 1 at all.
They can't come in, right?
2,
especially if you're going first.
Maintain, especially if you're playing actually like this brutal. If you're playing a horde.
Yeah, if you're playing horde or you're playing something fast, like if you're playing if you're playing against a Space Marine army that's got a lot of scouts and scout bikes,
and
they get to go first, boom. You can get all the way out there, 9 inches from you, nobody's coming in.
Yep. Yeah, you better leave. If you're playing against a matchup like that, you've got to leave holes in your own deployment zone for your reserves
guys to come in. Yeah. I mean, granted, scout bikers and scouts aren't hard to kill.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, I'm just thinking of like, with orcs on the horizon or even Tyranids, if I did like a Hormagon swarm where I've got like 90, 120 of those bastards, and I can easily get by the end of turn 1 to midfield on the board, and then by the end of turn, especially if I go first, by turn 2 of basically being in their deployment zone, right? It's like, well, have fun putting down I hope you left room for your stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
That might actually be a funny tactic just to play around with.
So the other thing that happened, and this is like I mentioned earlier, one of the things that surprised me or stuck out to me was the related errata.
Mm-hmm.
Down below it?
Yeah, down below the next page, the related errata, which affects Codex Space Marines Raven Guard, Chaos Space Marine Alpha Legion Forward Operatives, Adeptus Mechanicus, the Stygius Stratagem, and Craft World Eldar. Something does affect Eldar, see, John?
Mm-hmm.
And then
it looked Night Spear Rangers.
Right.
Okay, the Incarns, sure. maybe.
Yeah. Actually, I think it made the Incarn better. I don't know.
Yeah, because now you can just deploy it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to go into reserves.
Oh man, seriously.
So basically, what they did was they removed the previously or before Friday. Strike from the shadows, forward operatives, and clandestine infiltration allowed those units, when you use them, to deploy on the battlefield after deployment and after first turn was decided.
Yep.
Including after rolling to seize.
Yep.
And then they can deploy anywhere on the table 9 inches from the enemy. Now they all just get basically get a scout.
A scout move, yeah.
Yeah, I pay one command point so I can get a scout move.
Yeah, and again, this goes back to the thing that like it was a thing that allowed mediocre to mid-tier players to do much better than they should, and so the better players didn't like it.
I don't know if I hold to that, but
next on InfoWars.
That guy's banned. Are you saying I'm gonna get banned from Twitter and banned from Facebook and banned from YouTube and banned from PayPal?
I don't know. Maybe if you start saying like some of the top tier players are crisis actors, they never actually won anything.
I think people have to like show up at their houses, right, and like demand to know that they exist or something.
Yeah, it wouldn't be just that. People would have to demand they know they exist. Do you exist? And then for the Rangers, instead of it says change the last sentence at the end of any of your phase, they emerge from the webway, which basically is deep strike.
Yeah.
So they now have deep strike instead of infiltrating.
Not as good.
No, not anywhere near as good.
Especially because now they can't block anything since they can't come in until turn 2.
Yep.
Oh man, Mixardo says SJ Anon. Oh, I hate QAnon so much. That just cuts right to the bone. That's
nice.
I might have to go cry in a corner after this episode.
Don't you do that anyway?
And no, not always. Just some
not
nights.
after an episode. He does it after each day.
No, I only do it after like I have to have Adam at my house to do the show.
That's a typical response. So we know John's thoughts, and then the Yakaran just has to stay on the battlefield instead of being deep strike, just because I guess. Because like you said, John, they have to buff. They
have to buff Eldari somehow.
Eldari
have to do it.
Sorry. And then they added the beta rule for the reserves is still not final. They finalized Battle Brothers, and the tactical reserves is still being worked on, quote unquote, worked on. So who knows how long until they finalize it?
Never.
Never.
Yeah.
9th edition.
9th.
The way we're going, it should be soon. If AOS was basically, I'll say 2 years since General's Handbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Actually. Which I'm fine with, like, play with the rules that we've got.
Yeah.
So,
is it just me or is the prepared positions thing stupid?
That's what we're going to talk about right now. So
okay.
I guess we know John's opinion.
Okay. Well, because I scrolled down to it just now, and I realized, and I remembered it was there, and I was like,
I remembered.
Is it just me or is this a dumb stratagem?
I don't know.
Like covers +1 to save in this edition, right?
Yeah, +1 armor
plus
save.
+1 armor.
+1 armor save. Like, okay, cover this stratagem would be great if cover gave you -1 to be hit
instead of +1 armor.
Instead of +1 armor. If it was +1 or if it was -1 to hit you being in cover, that would be great. Or if just the stratagem did that. Maybe not like all cover, benefit of cover was that. But if this was a stratagem that for 2 CP, they're -1 to hit you.
No.
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
but I'm not saying they should do it, because if you do that, then all of a sudden Eldari, Eltok are now like -15 to hit, right? And like you cannot possibly hit them. But it would be better
unless you're orcs.
Yes, unless you're orcs. It would be better if cover in general wasn't a +1 to your save. If cover in general was a was a negative -1 to hit you. But then again, you run into the Eldari problem. You can't do that because all that Eldari stuff is already minus like 3 or 4 to hit you.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing worse than trying to shoot at Rangers.
Especially
on like the first turn of the game. Like, I'm gonna shoot those Rangers. Okay, you're like -6 to hit. So can I hit you? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or they're Flyers or Wave Serpent when they play the stratagem.
Yes. The Wave Serpent stratagem. Okay, you can't hit me. Thanks.
I like the idea, but I think two command points might be a bit much for what it does.
One would be good.
Yeah, one is a no-brainer. Two is like, considering the new beta rule right below it, it may not be worth spending 2 CPs.
It depends on your arm. I mean, on our team chat, as Tim was saying, like if you have like an actual horde of like 3+ armor save models, being able to go up to where everybody's got a 2+, like that could actually put some work in, right? Because even against last cannon, now suddenly you have 5+ and things like that. I mean, I can kind of see it as a corner case for some armies, but it's not. It's definitely not the fix to like going second.
No, it's definitely not a fix to going second, and going first is still a big deal.
And someone was asking if the Imperial Fists and Iron Warriors chapter tactics negates even this, where they ignore cover.
Yeah, it does.
Does anybody even know what those chapter tactics do?
Yes, they ignore cover.
I haven't even seen those people used on a tabletop.
I played against Imperial Fists.
That's because you're playing at the bottom tables.
Oh wow!
You see Iron Warriors. You will see Iron
Warriors.
Now.
There we go. I knew I could do it. I knew I could break them.
Come on.
They were mid-tier, not bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
You went 3-3. That's mid. That's about as mid gets.
Yeah. I went 3-0 at the last tournament. Or well, really 2-0, but who's counting, right?
Yeah. Well.
Win's a win.
So I don't know. I mean, you're not gonna. I mean, you're not. But I mean, someone asked.
Yeah. No, I know.
Something that it doesn't need to be them. It just can be a weapon or something that ignores cover, ignores that. So, but if you have something that's army wide,
I would think so. Yeah. Like it says it ignores cover, and that clearly sees you receive the benefit of cover.
Right.
Well, no. See, it says you receive the benefit. It doesn't say that you're actually in it.
Yeah, if it says it ignores it could say they would ignore the effect of cover. I don't. Like I said, nobody cares.
Yeah. Like nobody's gonna be playing those, but.
I think on one of their community pages, or I think it's the big FAQ write-up they did, they actually specifically mentioned, like, hey, now, Imperial Fists are better.
So you're saying in the commentary? Because I have that here. Yeah. The designer's commentary?
No, it's in the article they wrote.
Oh, I don't have that.
Yeah.
I have a big compendium for the FAQ, but it doesn't have that in it.
No, this is an article they released when they released on Friday. Okay. So it's in that. So I guess the Iron Warriors. So if you play Iron Warriors and Imperial Fist, thumbs up. They can't use that stratagem against you, I guess.
Yeah.
But more importantly,
then you're playing Imperial Fist.
Iron Warriors at least get fearless cultists.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you see them. You see a battalion of a warlord, random dude bro, like an exalted champion that 120 fearless cultists.
Jeff says the community page literally says that Imperial Fist get to do it. Cool. That'll make Paul really happy.
Sure.
And we'll get to see his beautiful yellow Imperial Fist army again.
Doubtful.
Come on. I want to see it. I like that army.
So I do too.
I like that army better than his Death Guard army.
Really?
Well,
okay.
I do.
Shocking. Was this what we were talking about, like good players trying to keep mid-tier players down?
What the hell, man? I'm being nice to Paul.
Wow.
I don't have any influence over everything. Why you gotta make everything about me being a dick? I'm not being a dick. Right now. At this moment.
Okay, so just below that is the one that most night players dread.
The interim balance review.
The tactical restraint.
Where's that?
That's right under prepared.
It's right under prepared positions.
Sorry. I scrolled past it by accident. Luckily, that wasn't on the screen at the time. It was just me looking like an idiot.
Yes, by accident.
Yes, by accident.
You didn't see it. It didn't happen, right?
All right. So, tactical restraint. Do you want me to read it?
Sure. You sound official.
Sure. It's one of my few talents. Thank you, Danny. I appreciate it. Tactical Restraint. There are several Warlord traits, relics, and abilities that give you a chance to gain or refund command points when you or your opponent either use a stratagem or spend command points to use a stratagem. In matched play games, each player can only gain or have refunded a total of 1 command point per battle round as the result of such rules, regardless of the source. This does not apply to the Moment Shackle or the Sevenfold Chant abilities, or to the or the player. Wow, that's terrible, man.
Yep.
Do you see that typo?
Yeah.
Or the player of the Twilight Warlord trait. This is professionally done. In these cases, the ability or Warlord trait can refund or gain the player more than 1 command point if the stratagem used cost 2 or more command points to use. But once any command points have been gained as a result of the rule, neither it nor any similar rule can be used to gain any more command points until the next battle round. Also note that this does not apply to command points that are gained or refunded as specifically instructed on stratagems, e.g. feeder tendrils, agents of Vect, etc.
You have to remember,
well-written guys.
You have to remember they hire people based on their passion for the hobby as opposed to their
And being British.
expertise at their job.
You know what? I'm passionate about the hobby. You couldn't go ahead and hire me, and that won't happen.
Again, you fail the other qualifier. You're not British.
That's true. I was.
And you're not willing to move to Nottingham.
Airborne says American isn't their first language.
True.
You know what the problem is about this is, like I said earlier, it's the limitation to just the 1 command point. Like, I think that that's way too far. You clearly built into this game the ability to farm CPs. Like, your first instinct was to give people the ability to, like with Astra Militarum, to gain CPs back from your opponent and to gain CPs back from your use. And you clearly wanted you to be able to regain more than a single CP because it was per command point used for the Warlord trait, for Astra Militarum, for the Grand Strategist. Like, don't go so far back that you're going against your core rule design that you had from the beginning. Because Astra Militarum was like, what, the 3rd codex?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty early on.
Like, you had that very early on. Don't go against your core mechanic for a game just because a bunch of people knee-jerked and because now all of a sudden mid-tier players can beat good players. Like, you don't need to go full tilt, remove it down to 1. You can do like 3. Well, what's wrong with going with 3? What's wrong with restricting it to command points spent by that particular detachment, which would still nerf? That would even be a bigger nerf to knights because then they'd never get them back for using any on the knights, right? But like, why go full tilt down to 1 CP? It wasn't even. Yeah, it's not too good. Like, yes, that was too good, but like majority, like if you can get back 10 in a game, yes, I agree or like 10 in a turn, I agree that's too good. But jump it down to 3, or jump it down to 1 per player turn. So then I can, by getting 1 back with my command trait for Grand Strategist, I'm not then negating my ability to get 1 back the next my opponent's player turn, right? And then this also says battle round, right? So if you take Kurov's Aquila and Grand Strategist and you go second on your turn, you can get back a command point if you went second using Grand Strategist, and on their turn you can farm 1 from the Aquila, but then you can't farm another one on your turn, right? So it's like, it's a little bit silly. Just go ahead and you do it once per player turn, or 3 times per battle round. Like, it's way too far.
I think part of the problem is when they gave out all those extra command points.
Yeah, the command point inflation definitely impacted things because you had a bigger pool to regenerate from.
And that was a knee jerk to the Imperial Knight Codex.
Right.
Because everyone was saying that the Knight Codex was too few command points. We took a super heavy detachment.
Right.
Because you used to only get 3.
If you made a mistake, don't go and try to fix the mistake with another mistake. Dial back your previous mistake.
That's all they had to do was revert back to what.
Right. You just go back to being, okay, sorry, no, this is the way it works instead.
Yeah.
But at that point, all these really good players had gotten used to being able to get 5 command points from their battalions. They're like, no, we don't want to go back to that because I still want my 5 command points. So just nerf this other thing.
I don't know. I'm still in the mind of
Yeah,
CP
Aaron,
farm
it's
is still
per
good.
battle round. Jeff's right. It's per battle round. It says it right here. Oh, let me go back to that screen, Jeff,
Yeah.
or Aaron. It's right there at the bottom. It says per battle round somewhere in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the battle round is two.
Last line
Right.
of the first
yeah, right here.
paragraph.
I highlighted it for you, Aaron.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think CP have. I mean, again, what's the 3 squads with a mortar and company commander and another random company commanders? How many points?
Company
Like
commanders are only
it's
30
100
points.
something.
Yeah, so it's like 200 sub 200 points. Like
Yeah.
you're still getting 5 CPs from that. You're still getting 30 chaff bodies to move around, and you're basically, because you're rolling twice on everything, you're always going to get a CP back a battle round. So really, you're paying 200 points for 11 CPs. That's
Right.
still a pretty fucking good deal.
It is. It's a good deal.
It's
But then that
nowhere
also
near as
takes
good as it
out
used to
the
be.
ability to take the fourth knight. So like then I'm taking out the Crusader, right? So that I can fit in another thing for some CPs, and then okay, now the list has gone down even further in ability. And it's not. And Jeff's saying that it's I'm only mad because it affects my army hard. It's not just that. It's that it by nerfing the knights so hard and the other command point farming needed armies, you're once again putting Ildari and Yanari back at the top. And now you're putting them back at the top with more CPs than they had before the last time they were at the top. Because you didn't fix your mistake the correct way by going back and removing CPs from the pool overall for everybody and balancing the entire thing out that way. You've now gone in to fix this one particular mistake that you made by fixing it with another mistake. By then nerfing an army that was good at the top, it's fine, it's a good balance, it's a good counterpoint. Was it too good? Maybe. I don't know, but it's just not. If you made a mistake, fix your mistake. Don't fix it by only trying to then go after the one army that was able to utilize it best.
I mean, I think it's a fair point to bring up that by toning down knights and really removing them from top tier. I mean, they're still good, but they're not top tier
They're back to gatekeeper.
Yeah, it's you change the ecosystem of the game, right? And what really put Eldari, Yanari in check was knights.
Right. And now you've taken that
so,
check away because and this goes back to the fact that like the problem was these mid-tier players could be an effective check to these top-tier players, and they didn't like that necessarily, is what I'm saying. Or even if not, maybe it wasn't even that. Maybe it was just like, okay, you don't want really top tier players to be able to get knocked out by a mid tier list, so you have to take that away.
Well,
but then
if
you remove everybody's CPs back to the way they were before, that's also a balancing.
But if you look at it from the other side, it could also be though that knights are still a gatekeeper, but they were so much more of a ball busting gatekeeper in the a week ago, right? Where 2 mid-tier players, 2 kind of average players are playing, and the guy playing knights with CP farm, right, is just at such a huge list advantage, right, that it becomes a kind of a negative play experience for a lot of the dudes at the middle tables.
But
where it's like
you're
I'm
describing somebody playing against Yanari and Soulburst.
No, I'm not saying it's like different. I'm just saying like
mid-tier players sit around playing against Yanari and Soulburst and go, "Oh, I don't even know what to do against this." It's like that's a game-breaking experience too.
I'm not saying it's not. What I'm just saying, felt like okay, we need to tone this down. Which again is like, why not tone down, or why not address even just some of the weird rules interactions with Yanari? So,
right.
I mean, again, I would hope that it's just because they've got a book.
I mean, if they're not
coming soon.
If we're not getting Yanari November, then I don't know what they're playing at.
Yanari November, it makes sense.
If Yanari's not going to be the one after Orcs, then why would they not address all those issues in the FAQ?
Don't disagree. I mean, They've already. It's one of those things of. I don't know. I mean, I think there's probably a better way to go about it. Although, I'm speaking as someone who doesn't play an Imperial faction at the moment, and the idea of spending a couple hundred points for 11 CPs is quite appealing.
Right.
But I don't play Imperium at all right now. So,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, a part of it is I just don't like the fact that they knee jerked so hard, which is what I predicted. Like, there's the whole meme on the main page of my prediction, like that they're not going to touch Yunari and the other stuff that's a problem, but they're going to knee jerk over hard at this one thing. And they really, it's if you added too many CPs, why did you not dial back the amount of CPs overall? Because at that point, if you're starting with less CPs, there's less for you to be able to farm from on both sides.
Right.
No, I
They
agree.
could have done
I
a
mean,
much more elegant fix. You dial back the CPs instead of being 5 and 12 back to what was it, 3 and 6 for Battalion Brigade, right?
Yeah, no, it was 3 and 9.
3 and 9, fine. So you dial it back from 5 to 12 to 3 to 9. And then you also further can go, okay, you can only farm 3 CP a turn total, a battle round total, right? So that would be a much better leveling of the playing field as far as CPs are concerned than this, where now there's still tons of CPs out there, and now you can't farm them fine, but now the other factions have way more CPs to play with than they did before, so you didn't really level anything back. You only nerfed the one group. And then putting Agents of Vect up to 4 was stupid. They should have changed. They should have changed it to once per game, or like 3 times per game, or like something like that.
Well, they made a couple changes.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll go into that really quick. So,
Okay.
in the other one is what John mentioned earlier was the interim balance review. So, they made a bunch of what they're calling enhanced small errata to enhance the balance of 40K. One of them was the chaos in regards to it's the warp surge that gives them the +1 to their invulnerable save. So a maximum of 4+. There's some units can still get a 3+, but no more 2+ Lord of Change flying around. More importantly, they actually, for the first time, as you mentioned earlier, they changed the price of about 5 or 6 of the stratagems in Imperial Knights, Blood Angels, and Shikari.
3 of them Imperial Knights.
I don't know why. For Blood Angels,
the Oathbreaker guidance system to 3. Come on.
Like, that's just because enough people complained about, like, oh, I was playing a game and all of a sudden just my Farseer died on turn 1.
Yeah.
My Yvrain died turn top of 1.
So Blood Angels, they added a point to Wings of Fire, which is the one where you can just pick up, if the model's already on the table, you pick him up and he basically deep strikes somewhere else. And he's one of the few. It's one of the few things that allows you to basically deep strike on turn 1.
Still good.
It's still good, even at
better now. Like, that's the thing, is like, this actually helps Blood Angels a lot because they're still one of the only armies that can do the first turn assault.
Like John mentioned, they upped the cost of the Oathbreaker to 3 command points, which you'll use at least once. During my games recently, I think I only used it once, and I just use it as a regular missile. So it's still good, even as just a regular shot missile. Yeah. Order of Companions. Don't recall which one's that, John? Order of Companions.
You know what? I'd have to open it up, and I can't do that because my Adobe's currently on the screen. Let me flip out of that real quick. So in the chat, real quick, somebody had said something about they're gonna nerf Imperial Knights because so many people were using them, right?
Right.
And I said, okay, well, did they do that to Eldari last when they dominated the field at LVO? And somebody was like, yeah, they increased the price of Dark Reapers. And I said, sure, that's one thing.
Right.
They nerfed the one thing, Dark Reapers. They left Yunari intact. They left all the other like problematic things in there. Here we have 3 stratagems nerfed for Knights. You have the Astra Militarum part nerfed. You have a whole part of the Blood Angel part nerfed. The Upon Wings of Fire, the entire ability to CP farm on those things. You nerfed that whole build across the board, but they touched only one part of the Eldari, just the Dark Reapers.
Yeah, I think they also mentioned there
were a ton of Eldari players at LVO in the top.
Well, I think that's when they made the latest change to Yunari in terms of how Soul Burst works.
What do you mean?
I think that's when they made the latest attempt to fix Yanari.
Which didn't work.
Which, well,
I mean, let's be real. That wasn't a fix.
it slowed it down, but
Sure.
slowing down a
Yeah.
big rig running along the highways, not
Yeah,
gonna.
that's not going to do a whole lot.
But so in addition that got what else? Oh, our darkest hour, which I think is the explosion one.
Hold on, I'm opening up the.
Okay. Well, more importantly, that we have our first 4P stratagem with they increased agents effect, and then they doubled down by basically making it require that you have a model from Cabal of the Black Heart on the table,
Right.
in order to use the stratagem. So I thought 3 CPs for agent effect was fine. Actually, I don't think it needed a 4 CP.
Yeah, 3 was expensive. Okay, what was the first night one? I'll read it.
The Order of Companions.
Order of Companions. Order of Companions. That's House Raven stratagem. Until the end of the phase, reroll all rolls of 1.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, again, it's
a
a major nerf to that build.
Yeah.
And now you can't recoup them.
And the other one was Darkest Hour, which I'm pretty sure is the
Our
explosion.
Darkest Hour is the House Tyrannus.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they nerfed
the
Zombie Knight. Yeah.
So you know what?
So instead of making it so it's only once a game, now it's 3 CP, so it's going to be harder to do it all the time.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're only going to do it maybe twice.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Instead of 5 times.
Don't be bitter. Be better.
Yeah.
What's funny is that there's another stratagem that lets a knight fight. It's almost like the one the Space Marines have
When it blows up.
instead of blowing up. So if it doesn't blow up,
Yeah, it's not instead. You have to roll to see if it blows up first.
you have to roll and see if it blows up. If it doesn't blow up, you can fight
or shoot.
But
Yes.
with use it on the gallants.
But that's
only 2 CP.
Yeah, but it's also Questoris only.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what
it's
I
Questor,
use.
Questor Imperialis. It's not.
That's what I
Imperialis.
use, so
Yeah.
that's all I care about. That's why
Right.
the Raven one doesn't bother me. Neither does the Darkest Hour one.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But they didn't touch the one where you explode.
No, because it's fine. Like whatever.
Well, you can ask Tom if it's fine.
Well, that's fine.
I'm sure Tom has a different opinion. But the other thing,
Aaron, we saw our Darkest Hour being abused a little bit in our area, and then it was used to fairly good effect at Nova. I did
Yes.
not. I didn't. I expected both those to get talked about in some way in the FAQ. Order of Companions and our Darkest Hour. I thought both those were going to come up in the FAQ for sure.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect a CP increase. I also didn't
No.
expect that to be done in concert with so much other stuff. So
yeah, I thought they would make it
Nerf
like
bat's
once.
got a nerf, man.
it's just
I,
a giant nerf bat. If only
And
they
this is
swang
only-
it willingly at some of the other top tier armies.
And this is only part 1 of the Nerf bat.
I know.
We're still for
chapter approved.
Yeah, we gotta wait for the other
So
shoe
waiting
to
for the
drop,
points increases.
which means I have to order my Porphyron fairly soon. So the other thing we haven't mentioned yet, which is causing a bit of an issue, and of course, if you look at it, it's another boost for Yanari, is the change to how fly works in the game.
Where was that one?
That's in the FAQ main
The
rulebook
main
FAQ.
FAQ?
It's in the rulebook FAQ.
And the current main rulebook FAQ is version 1.3, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And is it in errata? Yeah, it's in the errata, right? Page 177 moving? Okay.
Yes.
So it says change. Let me put it on the screen. Errata, page 177 moving. Change the second paragraph to read. If the datasheet for a model says it can fly, then during the movement phase it can move across models and terrain as if they were not there.
Yep,
Right.
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically you cannot move if everyone's reading it correctly. You can only move over stuff during the movement phase, which is why Reavers get a big bump up because their rule has not been adjusted to reflect that. Because
Does the fly rule in the main rulebook not say that you move during the assault phase as if it were the movement phase or something along those lines?
No, not to my knowledge.
Huh. Okay. I always thought there was wording in there somewhere about it move as if it's the movement phase. I mean, I could totally be wrong.
No, I don't think it says that. I don't think it says as if it was a phase.
Okay. I just know that's in there some places. I just don't know where it is. I mean, because I've had this argument with people before.
No, the old fly rule used to just say you move. When the model moved,
Right.
it ignored terrain, other models,
But
etc.
now it specifically calls out the phase.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
the movement phase. Because I remember when we first started playing 8, that I was my question of, wait, can like my heartbeat jump a chaff line? Can I just swarm lord it right the fuck over? And I was like, I don't know if it can, because it says move. I don't know if that means any move. And then it very quickly became kind of common understanding of like, yeah, that's what fly units do.
Right.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it means
Reavers
that,
didn't get FAQ'd.
Yeah, that means
right?
that it's very
So they can
safe
still do
for
it.
models. The Smash Captains can't jump over your chaff.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Smash
have to
Captains
open a hole.
can't. Shining Spheres can't.
Well, now that's the other thing. Now Yanari Shining Spears can at least move to get closer
because of
for the
Soul Burst.
charge because of Soul Burst.
Right, because they move as if it's the movement phase.
Oh my god. Oh, of course. Why not? Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it says as if the movement phase,
Yeah,
then
then
they
you
get
are
to
moving as if
jump
it's
models.
Yeah. So you blow a
I mean,
hole
you
in
can
something, and then
still-
you jump your
Yeah.
jet bikes in there when you soul burst, and then cool. Thanks.
Yeah, and then you get to charge. Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, the only thing for fly from the book says if the data sheet for a model says it can cross models and train as if it were not there.
Okay.
And in the designer's notes, they defined movement as including the charge. So charge is a move. So that's why you could fly over models and things like that. Now with the new errata, they can't do that. You can only do it during the movement phase.
Right.
And that's in response, for those that are wondering, that's in response to when you have a piece of terrain or building and you measure, because you measure from base to base, you measure 9 inches up. But when you charge, you ignore, because you ignore the terrain, they're literally less than 1 inch away.
Right.
Yeah.
Less than 1 inch charge if you do
the
it
charge
right.
ignores that distance.
Yes.
Yeah. Now.
And
now,
apparently that's not what the intent was.
Sure.
Except for Reavers.
which was just forgot about.
So now I'm gonna go buy a box of Reavers for my Space Marine.
Yes.
I'm sure that's exactly what GW would like. Yes.
I'm sure I'll get the easy to build ones.
Yeah.
And they made because they made sure to make the correction to flip belts, wraiths, and every because they also talked about flip belts and wraiths in terms of they can't do it either.
Right.
So right now the only ones that can do it are. Now I don't know if they're gonna change that. They may change it in chapter approved.
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah, they might. I mean, that's the thing is this is really part 1, right? Like the September FAQ is really half of it, because chapter approved is the rest, where they actually change points and unit entries more thoroughly.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see what, and this is, and I think this is why they didn't do some of the changes we're hoping for, because I know people were lamenting that they didn't change any points of my Necrons, or they didn't change any points of this or that. So I think because this FAQ is so close to chapter approved, there's really no reason to put any points adjustments, as opposed to the April FAQ, or is it March? I forget, whatever.
It's the March, I think.
Oh, is it the March one? So as opposed to the March,
April.
I'll just call it the spring. As opposed to the spring FAQ, that gives them more leeway. As opposed to the spring FAQ, where it's like 9 months until the end of the year, so of course they can make immediate point changes there.
Yeah. Right.
So I mean, we only have to wait a few months. So I'll probably play my knights and not change anything. and then see what happens at the end of the year. But let me see real quick. I think that's it. Other than the fly,
Yeah. I mean,
all
all
this
this other stuff is
better.
just kind of like whatever. Yeah. The choose targets thing we talked about.
The
Choosing
Kalyan
range
and Montcall takes effect. That always came up as to when the either ability affects
Yeah.
the units. It's when it's declared, as opposed to wherever the commander ends up.
Right, now it's a pulse, not an aura.
Right.
So, it'd be just so much easier if they actually just put in verbiage about things being pulses versus auras, but whatever.
Yes. Oh, that came up on competitive 40K. Did you see that, Danny?
No, I didn't.
The thread I got pulled into because I got tagged into it by one of the mods.
Oh, by Kyle, yeah.
Yeah, Carl.
Sorry.
Yeah, Carl. And their question was about a Forge World unit. Imagine that. Imagine that. Good old Forge World. And
there were errata in the none that mattered.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I love that too. Hey, look at all these erratas in the Forge World and all these FAQs, and then it's nothing. But the question was something about the demolition charges.
No, it was about the Cyclops demolition vehicle.
Yeah, Cyclops demolition vehicle. And so in the inline version of the weapon, it says that it automatically hits targets, right?
Right.
But then in the bottom section where it describes what happens when you use the ability of the gun, it talks about how it automatically hits units within D6 inches that are both friend and foe, and doesn't say anything about targeting, right? So the question was, okay, so is it targeting the model or not? Because can I rotate ion shields against it? And there's this big thing, and they tagged me into it, and then I came in and I was like, okay, well, no, I would rule it can't target because you can't target your own models. And if it's automatically hitting all units within D6 inches and it's also targeting, you've come to a point where, okay, you either can't actually hit your own unit with the explosion, or you can't use it if one of your own friendly units are within 6 inches because you can't target them. So it's like this weird game-breaking thing with, I was like, so on the fly, I would just rule that, like, no, you can't, it's not targeting for the sake of, like, using ion shields.
Yeah, that's the question that came up, was whether you can rotate ion shields.
And again, it's like this weird, okay, first of all, nobody's using that unit.
We're talking about it.
Second of all, that situation is really going to be difficult to have come up, because I've got to get within 6 inches of your knight for it to come up. And then if you're taking the stance that, like, well, you can't do it if it's just weird. It's just weird, and it would not be a problem if Forge World cared about 8th edition, which they don't. So
they just care about 30 models. Yeah. Hammerhead Games, one of our sponsors, asks that some people are saying if he deploys his Yakaran on the board in normal deployment, they think it can't teleport to another spot on turn 1. Is there any idea why is that? That's because they don't know the rules. Because you can do that. That's, like Jeff said, that's legal.
Yeah, I would agree that that's legal.
As much as John hates the rule in favor of Yanari.
Hey, I can when I'm asked actual legitimate questions, I can be completely fair and unbiased. I would make a great Supreme Court justice.
Oh, here we go.
I don't know, man.
At least it took this long.
Because I just read that and listened to it and agreed with him, was like totally calm about it, and said, yes, I didn't fly off the handle and start yelling and screaming about stuff about how much I like beer.
Oh my God.
But
there we go.
I can be unbiased. I just sat here and gave a very calm answer that I don't like because it's the way it works. Come on. Totally possible. I think I have one of those memes of him on here, right? In the rotation, I think I do.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yes.
And yes, because you have the guy from the...
Yeah, the guy from the speech in the background.
Yes.
It's the CP farm one, right? Yeah, good. I'm sure it's going to cope in rotation.
I'm sure, yes. I'm sure your family's plowed.
Yeah.
Small things, right?
Yes, small things. There it is.
So, Danny.
Yes.
Anything else come up? I think that's more or less it. Like I said, we're not going to go through
That's
everything.
the big
That's
stuff.
the big stuff. A few questions came up after it. Necrons in regards to
Oh yeah, the monolith
little-
and the nice scythe.
Yeah, they actually get a way around it because they count it as
It
disembark.
counts as transports now, so it's disembark, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Like, Necrons needed something.
So Necrons gonna do that. Yes.
So-
Same
yeah.
thing.
It's
You,
a good-
you still can't deceive it forward, though, and get out, because the deceiving thing happens in the movement phase, and you have to disembark at the beginning of the movement phase, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Although, well, I have to look at when the beam happens. Cause the
Yeah,
beam
maybe
may
you
happen-
can.
The beam, I think, happens at the end of the phase. I think.
Yeah. I think you're right.
I think it's like deep striking in that regard, but they say it counts as disembarking.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think it does work, actually. I think that's what... I haven't paid a lot of attention to the Necron pages lately because my Necrons are sitting in a tub over there in the corner. Actually, in a cabinet.
Not even a
Oh.
corner.
It's not even a corner. It's in a corner of a cabinet, and it's closed.
My Necrons are sold. Don't tell my brother.
Okay, I won't.
No.
Although I may do orcs now because I do have an airbrush.
You and everybody else.
Yeah, why not? I can bandwagon with the best of them.
Well, clearly you play knights.
I've been playing Night since 6, jackass.
I know. So yeah, Invasion Beam says, Invasion Beam says before this model moves in your movement phase, a single friendly dynasty unit that was set up on the Tomb World.
Right, so before it moves in your movement phase, so you deceive it forward, and then before it moves on the first turn, those units can then get out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It
how it
counts as
works.
Disembarking.
Cool. Actually, glad I didn't necessarily sell the Necrons. I might use that.
Oh, monolith suddenly
I'm not
important
saying
again.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Too bad they're like 500 points.
Yeah, God, monoliths really are too expensive.
Hammerhead Game says, if I have a Shiny Spear unit and choose to charge both a screening unit and a knight, do I need to just fit the base between the screen to move to the knight? Fit the base between the screen to
Yes, it's
yes.
yeah, because basically it's moving
Yes.
on the ground like a normal model base. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, it's not flying at that point.
yeah,
it's not
for
utilizing
some
the
reason
fly.
it's-
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's using their feet or whatever.
It's just like the thing with the Soul Burst. The Soul Burst is move as if movement phase, and so therefore
Right.
you can hop
now
over
you're-
stuff because
but
it's movement
now you're
phase
in
and
the
they can
charge
charge.
phase.
Right.
Yeah, if there's room, you can go through.
Yeah, there
Otherwise,
has to
you
be room to fit, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what Jeff's agreeing with us.
Oh, okay,
I
then
didn't have the chat open at that point. I switched over to another screen. So Jeff's agreeing. So that's good. Imagine that an Eldar player agreeing with us about an Eldar ruling that's in favor of the Eldar.
If anybody has any other questions, you can go ahead and ask about the FAQ. We don't mind answering them right now. In the meantime, I think that's it for the FAQ. Like I said, there's stuff. John, winners and losers.
The winners are, of course, Eldari, as usual. The loser is Imperial Knights, and particularly the BA Astra Militarum Imperial Knight list, which is fine. Like, I never played the BA part of that anyway, so okay. Tau are definitely a winner, too. Tom just said that. Tau are definitely winners also.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're huge winners,
No,
but I think that they are winners, yes. Yeah.
their change to how Savior Protocol works is a little bit of
Yes.
a debuff.
Yeah, the Tau gun line is still going to be sitting there going all pew-pew all over the
Yeah, that
place.
doesn't change the time. They just don't get hit as much in the face.
Yeah.
Danny, you agree? Any other?
I'd actually I'm probably an outlier in this. I'd say BA won more than they lost in the sense of as a standalone army. They're one of the few that get to do the first turn kind of shenanigans, right? With like essentially a deep strike and
Right.
charge. So that's a positive if you're playing kind of more of a dedicated Blood Angels force. Space Marines Chaos lose. They're
Sure.
just not. They lose a trick. Tyranids break even because we can still
do
Gene
the
Steal our
first turn
assault.
battle,
But
Let's see. So Tony would like a recap of why I think Knights
Why?
lost out.
You have to be in our team chat. You missed that whole manifesto.
So I'll give you a quick rundown. So the quick rundown is simple. there is a nerf. The tactical restraint nerf hits them hardest. That lists build the hardest. Then also there are increases to the 3 most commonly used stratagems that they use. So they increase the price of the 3 most commonly used stratagems. If you want to say you could even say they increased the price to 4 of the most commonly used if you're going to include Blood Angels in that, because they increase the Upon Wings of Fire stratagem to 2.
Yeah.
Oathbreaker Guidance Systems went to 3. Order of Companions went to 3. Our Darkest Hour went to 3. Now, you can't use Order of Companions and our Darkest Hour in the same one because you're not running Tyrannus and Raven usually. Unless you're cheating, which that occurs. But they increased those CPs. Then they also made it harder to get your CPs back using the CP farm. And overall, they had made the issue first with this by increasing CPs across the board.
Yeah.
And then they, instead of dialing that back to fix the problem of there being too much CP inflation, which is inflation, that's how inflation works, ironically enough. Instead of fixing the inflation by removing the amount of currency in the pool, they decided to restrict the amount of currency only a single group can get. So by restricting the amount of CP you can regain, and they did, and they went too far too. They if they had done all those changes and then just made it to 3 command points instead of 1 command point a battle turn, that would have been easier. It's not really a flawed position like Jeff is saying. The problem is they went way too far after the one group that was utilizing the CPs too much instead of dialing back their original problem. So that's my basic idea of how Knights lost out the most. I mean, if you just look at the pure number of nerfs that they took compared to all the other factions, they took way more nerfs, particularly the Astra Militarum, Blood Angel, Imperial Knight build. That build in particular took a giant nerf.
You mean the build that was like half the field of the Nova Invitational?
Sure.
Well, actually,
there was more than half the field at the LVO that was Eldari, and the only thing they took as a nerf was Dark Reaper's increase in cost. So,
most of the field was Imperial Guard with the Castellan.
Right.
Yes.
So that takes a bigger nerf. Now, not all Knight armies probably. I don't know. I was already thinking about. We had talked about earlier before, at least in their chats. I was thinking of dropping the Smash Captains anyway because they weren't performing for me. I probably wasn't.
Well, that's why I never ran them. They just
plus I probably sucked at using them, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really affect me. I can fit a brigade in mind to, cover the cost of the only getting 1 CP, but we'll have to see. I'm not going to build a brigade of guard just so it can get nerfed in a month. So
yeah.
I'll probably just go more.
That's the other thing. The other problem I have, which Tony has talked about this with me. I don't know if he's talked about it online necessarily with like everybody else, but I've seen him talk about how one of the things he hates is that you build something and then it gets nerfed to the point where it's not playable competitively. Which is kind of what they did with Knights. Like, it was a top-tier army, and now it's been nerfed back to mid-tier. Which is, like, that's not the point. Like, if you're trying to get the game to be more balanced, you don't take something that was good and then you just nerf it down to nothing. I know that he's had that frustration a couple of times. There's a couple other players I know who have had that frustration, too. Aurelia Correa has said that before, too. Like, it's frustrating to be playing something and then have it nerfed into nothingness simply by the whims of like internet rage. So
I think it's not just that. I think because we've seen it happen before in previous editions. However, it's not happening. It's happening at a much.
It doesn't happen every 6 months. Like every 6 months, it sucks to have something come out.
It's happening at a much faster pace than before.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that's part of it. So I don't know if I guess in future tournaments, just be aware if everybody's playing what you're playing, you may want to. Switch armies, start building another army. There's a question from HK Fui asking how can Mechanicus get into top tier? Well, I guess really can it?
I don't know.
The silence speaks volume.
Yeah.
HK, sorry.
Call needs to be cheaper.
Yes. They need to not have taken a nerf to their deployment.
Yeah.
True.
They need a reliable delivery system for the Electro Priest.
Yeah, the termites are good, but now with the new rule, if you
Right.
can't you can't. Yeah, I guess you could deep strike them, but now they're not till turn 2 unless
Yeah.
someone's in your own deployment. Not even then. They can't come in turn 2 even if they're in your deployment zone now.
Right.
So either do that or, geez, I think that's basically it. I think
I
that's,
like how Alan just said he never has that problem of the army being nerfed into the ground. And he says, "Don't play broken armies," and he's
plays
playing
Eldari.
Eldari. And you're right, Alan. You don't have to worry about it because you're playing for whatever reason. It's the chosen army this edition.
this edition. This is
It wasn't good in
almost-
5th, Adam. It was not good in 5th.
whatever.
It was not good in 5th. I will
Okay,
never.
so one out of
Only in
8
It's
editions.
one edition that they weren't good.
No, they were fine. They just weren't what they usually are. They were mid tier instead of top tier.
Yeah, Tony brought up a good point about the Mechanicus. They need a super unit, something that everyone's afraid of.
Yeah.
If they had some type of super unit,
It would be the
Yeah.
Electro Priest, but there's no way to get them. Where
yeah,
you need to-
yeah,
Yeah.
You need to have the unit that everybody's afraid of, and you need a reliable delivery system.
No,
Maybe
the Electro Priest is a scare. I've played against it. The problem is it's got to get. Yeah, you need a reliable way to get them there, and the termites are good, but I don't know if they're now with the new nerf. I don't know if they are to get them where they need to go.
No, you need they need something like opportunistic advance or like Swarm Lord or something where they can just get like an insane just normal movement across the field, right?
Yeah.
Or Wings of Fire from, like Blood Angels where you can just deploy them, pick them up, put them somewhere else.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, we're trying to make Space Wolves good, but they're not. They don't have a stratagem like Wings of Fire.
Yeah. No, to be good, you have to be able to basically be able to have double efficiency in the movement phase in some way, whether that's repositioning across the board, getting a first turn charge, moving, 30, 40 inches, etc. That really is what seems to be lets armies really dominate is when they can dominate the movement phase and the assault phase in the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those are the two most important phases of the game where you get the most maximum efficiency of your abilities, right? And you have the most control as the player, right? Movement phase is the only phase in the game, other than advances, where you have complete control over where how you choose to move, and if you get extra movement beyond what is normal, then you have a big advantage. And then assault, because you can just do so much damage and lock yourself in if you know what you're doing. Right, like you can just suddenly remove your opponent's ability to respond to you. So any army that can do both of those things, like Ynnari, are really good. Like Knights used to be, right? Because Knights got to
Knights can do
fly
that, yeah.
across the table, and then a gallon in combat is not exactly fun, and then they still shot like fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the for me, really quick, winners is obviously Eldari, especially with the Ynnari. I won't say Eldari. Ynnari with the Soul Burst, free move for the Shining Spears.
Well, and any nerf to Imperial Knights is a boost to Eldari overall.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't
Because they
count
were the best counter to that.
right, but I
dominant
still
Eldari.
wouldn't count on not seeing Knights anymore. I wouldn't. At
They're
least
just going to be less prevalent, which makes it better for everybody else.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Jeff was able to dodge Knights at Hammer of Wrath, and there were and there were a bunch of Knight players.
Yeah.
So even then, he was still able to dodge.
It's going to be much easier to dodge it now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. The next big event, I believe, is SoCal Open, at least for us. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well,
I'm probably just going to be stubborn and take my Knights. I may just replace some units.
Well, like I said in the team chat, I think that it's going to be telling if the best players, the top players, don't bring Knights in their lists, then it'll be telling that they're not good. Like if the top player meta shifts back to things like Custodes and Eldari and Ynnari and Drukhari and anything else with a pointed ear, basically, then it's going to be telling that that's definitely nerfed out. Even if you see a resurgence of like Astra Militarum lists, like pure Astra Militarum lists,
you might see Shadow Swords again.
right? Because at this point,
yeah.
with the nerf, and you're not going to be able to reliably get those CPs back, I think the Shadow Sword actually gets better because I'm not saying it's better than the Castellan. I'm saying it gets better because it doesn't require as much CP usage.
Oh, maybe I'll put a Shadow Sword in the list.
Yeah, I mean,
Tony, they've been nerfed 7 times, but never effectively. They never effectively dealt with any of the Inari problems. Yeah.
Let's see. Aaron is asking about Knights, Tempest of Science, Sisters of Battle, maybe in terms of being good.
maybe.
We lost our only good Sisters player, so
Yeah.
we didn't lose him. I know we know where he's at.
He moved to France. Can't blame him for that.
But seeing it as they're being developed, we'll see when their beta codex comes out in December.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that'll be
That is cool.
interesting.
I'm interested to see that.
And if they can get a reliable way to get that Melta in range of the Knights, then the Knights really are dead.
Danny, you
Yeah.
got a bunch of sisters, right?
No, I got a bunch of Sisters of Silence. I don't have like actual.
Oh, I thought you had sisters. Okay.
No, I wish. I've been thinking, because I was actually playing of like, oh, I need to build an Imperial army because I don't actually have one fully functioning right now.
Right.
And I was thinking of doing BA Sisters, Asher Militarum for Death Guard, Celestine charging first turn, locking up their front lines while like AM artillery just rains death.
Right. Yeah, for losers, I'm still being stubborn, unlike John, and I think Knights can still. I don't know if they can win. Like, I don't think they can win a GT.
Whoa, what do you mean stubborn like me?
No, I'm not being. I'm being stubborn.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not being like John,
Got
like you, like total. You've just basically. It seems like you've given up.
Oh, well, my knights are sitting on the top of my shelf now.
So what are you gonna play next?
I don't know. We'll see. I'm in my off season right now, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh yeah, so it works out for you.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm probably gonna. So I think Knights take a big hit. How big? I don't know because I played Terran, so I didn't have to worry about the Raven stratagem.
Yeah.
The only stratagem that got touched for me is the Oathbreaker missile.
Yeah.
And the jump captain. And if I'm dropping the jump captain, I don't care about that.
Yeah. I think triple gallant Terran is much better now.
Yeah.
Triple gallant Terran, no Castellan.
Oh no, Castellan.
Yeah, run triple gallant Terran triple gallants, and with some type of with either Helverins or with like maybe even some type of like heavy Astra Militarum screen, or
that's what I was
even
thinking.
something like Astra Militarum screen and something crazy like a bunch of Fenrisian wolves. Just cause, why not? Like something nuts.
If I
that
drop,
everything's running at you, and can you deal with it all? No, okay, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
if I drop the Blood Angel part, I think I'm almost certain I can fit a brigade of Imperial Guard.
That's a lot of CPs.
That's a lot of ZB. Yeah.
It's like 21 or something like that. So so then I don't care about not being able to regenerate command points. The other option is to maybe I almost thought of just replacing the I know it's not a good choice, is replacing the Blood Angels with the Canis Rex and just troll people with
Canis Rex and Helverins.
And not he doesn't give them the boost.
I thought he gives the Helverins a boost.
He does not.
Who does he give the boost to?
He doesn't himself. That's basically it. He has an ability that lets him. He gets a free reroll, which basically doesn't cost me a CP.
Who boosts the Helverins? I thought there was a big boost.
It's the Preceptor.
Oh, well, take the Preceptor and boost all the Helverins and just troll people with damage through weapons all day long.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing that because I wanted the Canis Rex just to troll like Warlord, so I make him my Warlord.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it dies, the guy can get out, and you don't get credit until you kill the guy. And then I have him hide with the Imperial Guard.
Oh, okay.
But we'll see. The Preceptor might be better. I have to decide like this week. So But yeah, Knights take the hit. I don't know if it's as big a hit for me personally because I didn't run Raven, like you said.
Right.
Because Terran may have come out. He may have come out the best. I think someone said Mortan, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you were already thinking of dropping the Blood Angel part of your
Yeah,
list
so
anyway,
it
so
wasn't-
that didn't matter to
yeah.
you either.
So I just needed to know whether I was just thinking whether the Imperial Guard part or just to add more robots. So I may just add more robots.
Sure.
But other than that, any other questions in
don't think so.
chat? So Nash preview was today also because of the leak. What'd you think, John? Danny?
I didn't see it.
More boob worms. I'm
Yes.
fine with it.
It's just a new fiend,
Yeah.
a plastic fiend instead
Sure.
of Finecast.
It's a faction I don't care about. So when I saw the link in the team chat, I didn't click it. I was like, whatever.
I'm hoping that the Wrath and I'll probably end up buying too many of the Wrath and Rapture boxes just to fill out both Khorne and Slanesh, my two favorite gods. So
Yeah, I'll probably get it to.
The problem is you're going to buy all those things, and then by March, it's all going to be nerfed.
no, because it probably won't be good.
Well, that stuff's going to be for Age of Sigmar. So,
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
but I was thinking of because I have the Greater Demon from Forge World. I
Yeah.
was thinking of building a Slanesh army just to have it. So we'll see.
Okay.
I haven't decided
Alright.
yet. So any other? So I guess we'll call it a night.
Yep.
If there's any other questions? Doesn't look like it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Really appreciate it, especially this late night. Blame John. We all do.
Whatever.
Always.
Just if this is the first time coming by and listening to us, just check us out on Facebook where we post all the episodes, things like that when they come up. And I believe that any last impressions, John?
Don't forget
Other than your
they should, if they need like wound markers and stuff and all that kind of stuff, they should check out hammerheadgames.com.
Oh yeah, it's hammerheadgames.net.
.net. Sorry,
Keep
Tony.
on saying
So the guy we keep referring to in the chat,
.com.
who's Hammerhead Games, he
.net.
makes all these really cool gaming aids. So you guys should definitely go to hammerheadgames.net for all your gaming needs. Sorry, man.
Danny, any last words?
Make spores great again.
Oh God. No, that's not gonna happen. If you're gonna go to LVO,
Or actually, I do have something.
okay.
If you were like, oh man, Blood Angels make this awesome list, you don't want your Blood Angels anymore. $50.
$50 for all Blood Angels? Perfect.
Yep.
I like it. That's a good thought.
And don't worry, some of your armies will be great again about 5 editions later.
Unless it's Ildari and you only have to have one bad edition.
True. There's the last thing. Don't forget. I think we're all going to LVO once again.
Yep.
If you're going, because it's getting close. It's getting close to that time of year.
Yep.
Come say hi to us that are going to SoCal Open. I'll be there. I think Jeff is going.
Yep.
Tommy's going. Alan is going. Come by and say hi.
Mhm.
We'll all be at LVO. Just come to the judges table, say hi. Always appreciate it.
Yep.
And I believe that's it.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good one.